What's happening? 10:02 on the fan. It's the Tiki and Tierney show. What's good, everybody? How are we? Oh, Hoff is back. He made it back. 5 days in Disney. He's broke. He's probably partially broken. And I'm sure that there was some wacky, frustrating story that he's going to share a little later. A ride broke down. Something had to happen. But he's back with us. Hopefully everybody really had a good weekend. Tiki's off today. Let's roll into it here. Hey, listen, man. I know we all think we know baseball in this town. We've got it figured out, right? We all know what's going to happen. We got it all mapped out, right? 5 months of dissection, analysis, some great takes, some awful takes. I've had a few as well. Some hot streaks, some cold streaks. Hoff, I take no pleasure in saying what I'm about to say. I take not a modicum of pleasure in saying what I'm about to say. Should I say it? I'm going to say it. We're not winning a World Series this year in New York City. It's just not happening. The Yankees are not winning. And the Mets are not winning. Now, we'll play along. Don't get me wrong. We'll go through the roller coaster the next month or so of the regular season. And then we'll hop through hoops in October, juggling Yanks and Mets, and that'll obviously be primary. And, of course, Jets and Giants. I'll do a little Jets-Giants later. We're not winning a World Series this year because neither team is good enough. Neither team is good enough. I mean, where do you start? Myriad bullpen issues for the Yankees, an inability to sustain hitting, still questions at the top of the rotation, the closer. I mean, and the Mets, and both teams have had really good, really fun. That's why I say I hate to be the bearer of bait. I don't want to start a week like this, Huff. I don't want to be that guy. But, man, watching the Rockies, Mets over the weekend. By the way, awesome job on Old Timers Day. And, Huff, just so you know, I know you've been in, in fantasy land and future land and wacky land. You got to get my phone thing set up, man. Thank you. Because I think a few people might want to speak to me today at 877-337-6666. But sitting here watching the Mets and the Rockies and sitting here watching the last two putrid performances by the Yankees, listen, the dissection, the analysis, the great takes, the awful takes, the in-between takes, all the stuff that we've done, all the shows, the morning show, and they had their different takes and their different ways of going about things, right? Me and Tiki, and we have our different takes and different ways about different way about going about our business. Carton and Roberts, different takes, a different way of going about business, and all the shows on the fan, at night, into the weekends, we all dissect it differently. But if you dissect it honestly, all right, how, as we are knocking on the door to September, it's here, 5 months of daily, and I think pretty damn good analysis across the board at this station, and certainly a ton of passion, right? And a great sense of history and appreciation, all those things. After 5 months, how am I going to get... Listen, I could be the guy that gets on and says, oh, don't worry, it's the A's, not a big deal. Listen, even though you won 3 out of 4 against the Rockies, you didn't look incredibly impressive. Met fans, you're good to go. Listen, and ultimately, you might be. That's the beauty of this. It's late August. This is my opinion today. And I pray that I'm wrong. I don't think I will be. The Yankees, the last 14 games, by the way, look at these. These numbers are disgusting. 14 games. Hoff, you ready? This is almost worse than the bill for a stale waffle at Chef Mickey's, which I know beats the crap out of you. I mean, you want to talk about oh, my God. Talk about a racket. Hey, there's Goofy. He looks miserable. Hey, Minnie, can you come over to the table? No, I'm still hiding behind COVID guidelines. Okay, but the bill is still $196 for breakfast. What? The last 14 games, the Yankees are dead last in slugging percentage. Nobody worse. They are 29th in OPS. Not many worse. And they are 27th in the bigs during that span of 14 games in runs scored. Now, the kicker is that includes Thursday when they had 20 hits and 13 runs against Oakland. And they are still statistically in an incredibly pathetic, alarming run, where they reside. Now, the Mets, since August 12th, all right, the first time with the Phillies, you lose 2-1, you lose 1-0. Then you go to the Braves series. I'm skipping some things here, but this is a pretty fair macro barometer, last month or so, if that's macro enough for you. The 13-1 loss in Atlanta, the 5-0 loss in Atlanta. And I know the resilience was there and the fortitude. You come back, you win another game, but then you lose 3-2. All right. Then the 2 at the Yankees. You handled the Yankees early. Not a big deal. You split the season series, but you scored no. You didn't look crisp offensively at all. You scored 2 runs both games. And the 4 games with the Rockies, including the Yankees series, the Mets have scored 16 runs in 6 games. And I think even more, or maybe possibly most disconcerting with the New York Mets is that in the 10 games that Scherzer and DeGrom have started, they're 5-5. I mean, they're wasting gems. Gems. What happens when you play good teams? That's what worries me. Listen, this is not about they're not going to collapse, even though the Rays are at 7.5. The Yankees are going to win the division. They'll get a first-round bye. The Mets, I think the Mets will hold on and win the division. I think. Really, the next couple of games is huge because you think about this. So now the Braves are playing the Rockies, and the Mets are playing the Dodgers. I mean, that on paper should be a swing, maybe a little transfer of power in the standings. But I think the Mets will win the East, and they'll get a bye. And then the torture will start. And Scherzer and DeGrom will take the hill, and you could book it. They'll put up zeros because they're amazing. And then you'll hope that Lindor's hot, because if he's not, the Mets don't score, despite Alonso's, for the most part, amazing heroics, despite that little 6-for-40 funk, whatever it was. He's entitled to it. He's a hell of a player. I mean, Darren Ruff's brought absolutely nothing to the table. Nothing. I mean, zero. Everybody loves Vogelback, including me. I mean, he's not a difference maker. He contributes, but he's not a difference maker. Catching stinks. I love Beatty's swing, but obviously he's young, okay? I love that kid. And defensively, there's some holes in his game. So, and then you get to the Yankees bullpen. It's like, well, first of all, who the hell's pitching today? I don't mean today literally. I mean, who's getting the ball in this situation? I don't know. Who'd they call up in terms of optionality? Who's hot? Who's not? Who's the closer? I don't know. There's a few of them. Who's hitting second today? Don't know. Who's playing center? Don't know. There's just too many questions. Now, and I'm going to get to the phones right here. Let me state this again. I know both teams are good. Let's not waste time when I go to the phones. We know they're good. I believe strongly, with zero hesitation, that they're both, 95% going to win the divisions, plural. So let's not waste time on, really where they've been as much as where they're going. And I understand, and I'm going to, I'm already telling you right, I already know the stock answer. Anything can happen in October. All you have to do is get hot. Understood. I understand that, which is why we always reference the randomness of baseball. I get it. It takes one relatively obscure figure to come off the bench or, crack a 1-for-9 slide in the divisional series and pop a 3-run bomb like Todd Pratt or somebody else did back in the day, or Vizcaino lining one down the left field line against the Mets. Of course, anything can happen. That's baseball, Susan. But look yourself in the mirror, okay? We might disagree, and that's great. But look yourself in the mirror. What's Parcells say? The man in the mirror don't lie. I don't think he says it like that, but actually, I'd be stunned if he says it like that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Parcells looking in front of a mirror and saying, "Man in the mirror, don't lie," just like that? No,
not gonna happen.
no. By the way, as a side, how awesome is this? Bill Parcells' brother, his son, is coaching my son in football this year. So he's getting coached by a Parcells.
That's awesome.
Oh, you
Part
think?
of the tree. Let's go. Part of the family.
Let's go. But, Hoff, I already know, and I get it. It's the presentation of the positive. It's the reinforcement of, for the most part, what's transpired most of this year for both teams. But the flaws that exist, I hate that I'm saying this, I believe they will prove to be fatal for both. 877-337-6666 inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends at Town Fair remind you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire, nobody. And just one more thing, and I say this, coming from a good place. Don't waste my time on stuff I already know. I know the Mets schedule gets incredibly easy. I know they play the Pirates and the Nationals and the A's. I know. Trust me, I know this. We've run through this a million times. So let's avoid a regurgitation of what we've already chopped up for months here. Let's go from now forward. All right? Maybe we get to a different point. By the way, Hoff, yes or no, which is tough for you, like me. I mean, we both like to yap. I
don't know what you're
understand
talking about.
Yes or no? And don't expand. I'll give you a chance later because I want to get to these calls. Yes or no, do you disagree with my assertion?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Let's get to the phones here. Let's get Anthony first up, Bridgewater, New Jersey, on the Fan Tiki and Tierney Show. Anthony, what's happening, buddy? How are you?
What's up, Brandon? I like you, but I don't like you this morning with these comments, man.
I hear you.
You did this a couple of weeks ago when you came out and said the Mets are going to lose the division if they don't take care of the Phillies for 4 games. They took 3 or 4 with you pitching. And now you come out here and say, oh, they're not going to win it. There's no reason why they can't win the World Series. They have the 2 best pitchers in baseball.
Okay.
You get them in a short series.
Yeah.
You're going to have either Carrasco or Taijuan Walker put in the bullpen.
Yep.
You're going to have McGill in the bullpen. You're going to have Peterson in the bullpen. So your bullpen assertion is thrown off the bat. Okay. Hold
on. Not complete. It's not invalidated completely because. And by the way, Anthony, I get it. There will be options from guys who aren't starting, and those are good options. I like both of those guys. I like all the players you mentioned. But you also said you got DeGrom and Scherzer, which you do. You're also 5-5 in the 10 games they've started this year. Just a little fact. Keep going.
Okay. Well, here's my other fact. My other fact is you want to talk about how they are against the last few games. They're 11 games over 500 against teams with winning records this year, which I think is a phenomenal record compared to the Braves who are under 500. Okay, so to me, you're making these assessments with 5-5 with Scherzer on that. To me, that's in a regular season, in a short series in October when no one can hit the ball. I go back to think about in 2015 when you said the same thing with Harvey and all these guys. When you get to these guys in the playoffs and everything, I think it's a different game. I think when you have the 2 best pitchers, you ride them. You look back at all these guys with Johnson and Schilling, you ride pitching. It doesn't matter about hitting in the playoffs.
But Anthony, hold on. It does. I'm not going to let you get away with that. You can't say hitting doesn't matter. Well, that's what you just said.
Okay. Wait, but you're acting like the Mets don't have hitting. Okay, you're picking the 2. You're picking the 1 week that Lindor didn't hit. And wait a second, and the Mets just had 3 or 4. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If the Mets would have won yesterday, you're still saying the same thing?
It depends how they would. No, well, yeah. Well, first of all, Anthony, and that's a great question. I will say to you, and obviously to everybody, thanks for the call there, bud, that when I take a stance, when I have an opinion, it's not off of now it could be, sometimes it has to be off of a quick reaction, but it is based on watching something for a while. You know what I mean? Like, and as a good parallel, like I am conflicted as to whether or not I think the Knicks should include R.J. Barrett in a Mitchell trade. You're like, what are you talking about? Well, that is me watching him play for 3 years and realizing he's incredibly inefficient. I really like him. I'd like him to stay here. Geez, I like the Knicks to draft somebody in the first round and get a second contract. That would be nice. Of course I'd like that. But that is an opinion that, I have come to after 3 years of watching Barrett. The opinion that I just gave you on the Yankees and the Mets, while I can obviously be wrong, is based on 5 months of watching the Yankees and the Mets. So, here's the other problem, too. Everybody tells me, and I get it, historically, pitching. What happens, God forbid, if DeGrom or Scherzer gets lit up? And don't tell me that it's impossible, because every all-time great has gotten lit up. Now, that I'm not predicting. I'm a lot more confident saying that the Met bats might come up short than the two guys at the front of the rotation. They are beasts. But, my opinion is not based on this weekend with the Rockies. So to answer you, no. Phil's in River Edge. What's happening, Phil? How you doing today?
All right, BT. I'm a big Met fan. I normally take you to task, but I got to tell you, I was there yesterday. We had great seats, my family and I.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just yesterday. I agree. Their bats have gone silent. And when you look at the 7, 8, 9 hitters, we get nothing out of them. Top that off with Lindor's in a little bit of a slump this week. But how we won against the Rockies really, really bothers me. We're not hitting the ball. And that scares the bejeevers out of me. I got to be honest with you.
It should.
So, yeah, and it does. And as we're looking yesterday, that pitch for the Rockies at a 5.6 ERA. This is the Rockies, man. Come on, let's get some hits here. We were like one hit up until the 7th inning.
Now, this was, Phil, this was really from both sides, even going out to Oakland. This was gross. Even though the Mets won 3 out of 4 and the Yankees split, which is unacceptable in Oakland. Jeez. This was a sobering shot across the baseball universe that as much as they've been awesome this summer and fun, and yeah, of course, they've got a puncher's chance. Clearly, anything can happen. I think there were some real not too subtle reminders this weekend that both teams just have flaws that you can't cover up. You can't. Now, you can pitch around some deficient hitting for a while if you're playing against the Rockies. Not if you're playing against the Dodgers. Not if you're playing against the Braves. The Braves rake, man. I know they lost 2 out of 3 to St. I know. I saw the 3-run home run last night late. I get it. But the Braves rake. And I got news for you. I really think top to bottom you're better. I know you're better managed. The Phillies in the wild card series with Bryce Harper back. I mean, this ain't going to be easy. That's all I'm saying. 877-337-6666.